everyone, Susan Lazar, Hart here, your congruency coach for creative seekers and change makers asking for more. I've been getting so many letters and emails and private messages coming in about, oh, I'm rolling up my sleeves, here we go, about what do I do about my relationship right now, especially now since I've been self-isolating and all of a sudden I'm with somebody I thought I knew, I don't quite know, and I'm with myself and I don't really know myself anymore. So we're going to start with number one, the expectation myth of the 6 myths that people actually use to keep them from a juicy, joyous, creative relationship. So, number one, the expectation myth. If you loved me, you would know. If you loved me, you would know what I want. If you loved me, you would have done this for me. If you loved me, you'd be bug off. I always say God doesn't come down and whisper in my ear. You actually have to tell me what's going on. Yeah. So, diving right in. The first thing I would ask you to do is ask yourself, what are you committed to? Are you committed to your expectation of somebody trying to figure you out, of somebody proving to you that they love you? Or are you committed to creating the space of space in which you're actually gifting you what you require? Well, what do you mean by that, Susan? Well, I'm glad you asked. If you're gifting you what you require, you're willing to live in the question. So I'll give you an example. It's a silly thing. It's about dog food. Yesterday, I got up, did my meditation, some exercise, walked Shiloh, came back, and Ricky was sitting there having his breakfast. And in my mind, I thought, oh, I would come in and the dog's dog food would be all set out and I could start on my book. I decided while I was walking, this was the day I was getting tugged to write my book some more. Right? So I come in and there's no dog food. And he's having breakfast. And I just turned to him and I said, where's the dog food? And he said, oh, I could get it for you. And I started to get all pissy. And then I stopped myself and I asked myself the very first question, what is it that I'm really asking for? Not about dog food. Oh, I'm asking for the space of creation for me. Well, he doesn't know that. He thinks it's about dog food. So then I asked myself, okay, so what does this require? So I said, this is what works for me. When you come down and have breakfast while I'm walking the dog, can you get the dog food ready? He's like, oh, okay. Because stopping myself midstream when I walk into the house to take care of the dog, again, doesn't work for me. So I'm asking you, are you willing to ask these questions without expectations, without any presumption? It's more about having a business meeting, right? What's working for you? What's not working for you? Does this work for you? If it doesn't, are you willing to sit down and say, without presumption, without anger, without rage, this is what would work for me, and this is what doesn't work for me? And it is as simple as stuff like we let things like dog food, like, you know, whatever that is for you, we have them mount up, and then we explode at somebody and they have no idea what we're talking about. So, if you love me, you would know is one of the biggest myths. And part of that myth is, do you love yourself enough to know what you truly, truly desire? And when I took an aerial view of everything after we had that discussion, that talk, and Ricky was like, cool, I can do that. All right. And not a problem. I asked myself, what's underneath this? And I realized, oh, I would like a day for me, a day without any of the chores, the house chores, a day without having to do anything for anyone, and a day for me. I was like, oh, that's cool. So what could that look like? So what day actually works best for that? Saturday. Okay, am I willing to commit to that? So questions to play with. What works for you and what doesn't work for you? And are you willing to commit to gifting yourself what you require? There's no such thing as perfection. It's not somebody else's job to be perfect enough to give you what you think you want, right? Or to prove to you what you think you want. It's about being present with what is, taking the veil off of the myth. You know, you might ask yourself also, who did I buy that myth from? Like, how many movies are based on that? How many videos are based on that? How many romantic books are based on someone knowing you well enough to give you everything you desire? Right? It doesn't really work that way. Do you know you well enough to give you what you desire? The third one that I love it. what is it that you truly desire here? So are you willing to be that present with you and ask yourself, okay, so what is it that I truly desire here? And then be present with that. And what if that has nothing to do with anyone else? Right? So I hope this has helped you. We're going to go into myth number 2 on which is on Thursday. Again, these are quickies. The sacrifice myth. Love that one, right? So once again, what are the 3 things I'm asking you to play with here? Play with what works for me and what doesn't work for me, right? Are you willing to sit down and have like a business meeting? This is what works for me. This is what doesn't work for me, right? What would create the greatest amount of possibilities? Overall, what would create the greatest amount of possibilities? And what does that look like for you? And are you willing to commit to that? Because there's nothing worse than saying, this is what I'd like, and then waffling on it because you have a point of view about what they're going to think about you. When you start to commit to you, that creates a vibration that lets the universe know there's more of you in creating with more of you. Right? And everyone else catches that. They might not like it, but it's there. Are you willing to be totally present with what you desire? So if you like this video, give it a like. If you're seeing it later, put hashtag replay, share it with your friends, give it some love if you value it. And, you know, this is something that I love to create with my clients, with the world, is what would it be like to actually have that juicy, joyous relationship with yourself? It's like coming home to you, right? Getting out of their head and into your heart of what you truly desire. That's what these tools are all about. I adore you. If you have some questions, private message me. If you want to dig deeper and work with me, private message me or leave a comment here. I will reach out to you as well. I'll see you on Thursday for myth number 2. Until then, live boldly, love greatly, and be that fearless leader you came here to be, right? A fearless leader is willing to take the veils off and demystify the myths and commit to them. Commit to you first and everything else. I wonder what that would create. Trisha says, thanks. Rita says, hi. I adore you all. Mwah. It's a quickie. Bye-bye.